officially, welcome to malware analysis, or CPC 458. So this is a free credit course, and this is the place to be right now, because, as we'll talk about, malware analysis is just such a freaking big deal, folks. We'll talk exactly about why. So we'll be meeting, once a week on Tuesdays, like today, from 7 to 9:45, and I put up a Zoom link right here inside PowerPoint. It's inside the syllabus, and it's also on Titanium. So, and if you're here, it means that you've been able to find a link. I know some of you folks might still be waiting to be officially enrolled because you are on a wait list. That's okay. Um, Once you're enrolled, just let me know. If you have been recently enrolled but you cannot see Titanium, I think you probably should be able to see it pretty soon, hopefully today or tomorrow. And also, today's lecture and every lecture is going to be not just broadcasted live like it is right now, but it'll also be recorded. And usually, I will edit it. I will, try to make it a little bit clearer. I'll try to make it, a little bit more fun. I'll try to make it, a little more useful. All right. So now for the official introductions, my name is Mikhail Goffman. And yes, I do have a PhD and I have a CISSP. I'm not a huge title freak. You can call me whatever you folks like and whatever makes you feel comfortable. Some people call me Mikhail, some people call me Dr. Goffman, some people call me Mike, some people call me Crazy G. There was something else. Somebody on Reddit called me something else. I forgot what it was. But yeah, so you can call me whatever you guys feel like. As long as I know you mean me, we should be good. And the best way to get in touch with me is through my email. Now, typically, I would also be available at my office, which is located at CS 429. But as you know, the entire campus right now is considered to be biohazard, so don't go there. Email is the best way to get in touch with me. With that said, though, don't worry, I wasn't going to abandon you. I will also hold office hours virtually, meaning, through Zoom. And this is a Zoom link for the office hours. It's also in syllabus and Titanium. And just keep in mind, this link is different from the classroom link. Now, you may say, hey, Goffman, why do you make things so complicated? Why do we have to have two links? Why cannot we just have one? Well, basically, the reason for that is because I teach multiple classes. And I want to have, some place where anybody can come and see me no matter, what class they're in, or maybe, somebody out of class would like to see me. So think of it as my virtual office, where this is our virtual classroom. All right. Oh, and hey, Daniel, and hey, Dan. Hey, I know you guys. I had you for cryptography and or web security. I guess you're back for more. Yeah. All right. I guess those courses just were enough pain, huh? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, and my office hours will be held at those times. And if one of those times don't work for you folks, I understand, you got jobs, you're trying to survive COVID-19, you have your circumstances. So if none of those times work for you, please, don't think twice about emailing me and asking me, could we possibly schedule for another time? All right. And also, never hesitate to email me with any kind of question. As I, tell people, I constantly have my email running. I'm always with my, phone, and I check pretty religiously. I get a notification, and as I joke, I slip, with my tablet, not in a bad way. Plus, this is Galaxy Tab S2. Probably older than some pyramids in Egypt. So, the point is, please feel free to contact me. Don't think twice. All right. So that's basically the introduction. So now, if you interesting things, to talk about. First of all, um, security is my specialty. That's what my PhD was in. It was in analysis of role-based access control policies as well as virtualization security. And security has become basically everything. And the reason why I love security so much is because it allows you to study so many different parts of computer science. Because security by itself is a pretty boring concept. Okay, well, not that boring, but but really, security becomes really fun and really practical once you start applying it to something. For example, you have the security of networks or network security, you have web security, you have database security. You know, that's when it really comes alive for me. So, and malware analysis is definitely one of the big pillars of security. I mean, think about it, right? Read the news. There is some kind of an attack happening every day, especially right now because of COVID-19. A lot of people, see that as an opportunity to defraud people or to achieve whatever ends they're trying to achieve. So, and almost all of those cyber attacks involve some sort of malware. Okay, and in this class, we will be focusing on studying malware and how do we actually take those little evil buggers and how do we make them reveal their mysteries? How do we discover their nefarious plans? How do we uh, use that knowledge in order to build defenses? All right. So this is now definitely a place to be. Now, this course has been developed not just by me, but it was developed with consultation with one of my colleagues from Bechtel Corporation, Mr. Ryan Chapman, who is, amongst other things, is a professional malware analyst. So yes, we had a lot of industry input. Now, why would you want to be a malware analyst, right? Why would you want to be, for example, a malware analyst instead of, for example, a Pokemon trainer? Okay. Well, here is one reason. I assume you folks like money, right? Or in the very least, I think you like to eat, right? I mean, I certainly do, right? You could tell. Um, so, but this is the average salary of a malware analyst with a $5,500 bonus, right? So, yeah, that's I think this salary is very very motivating, right? And yeah, and some people are saying that recently there has been a malware attack at Rialto School District. Yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah, and wait, a Pokemon trainer is an option. No one told me that. I believe it is an option. Yeah. However, unfortunately, this website would not give me the average salary of a Pokemon trainer. But I think it's a bias, and I think it's only a matter of time before our school creates a Pokemon training department and major. All right. So, and I'm sure it'll be handsomely paid. There is hope for the future always, right? yeah, yeah. So now also this semester is very different than all the other semesters, and it's not because just of COVID-19, although that in itself is enough. Officially, starting this semester, the computer science is launching a cybersecurity concentration. This is something which we've been working on for quite a few years. This was one of my big career goals ever since I was hired at CSUF. And what is cybersecurity concentration? Well, you can read about it online, but basically, you can, if you declare your computer science concentration to be cybersecurity, you can graduate with a degree in transcript that says computer science, BS in computer science, with concentration in cybersecurity. So what do we have to do in order to satisfy that? Well, basically, you must take CPC 456, which is network security, and you need to take at least 400 security electives, which include CPC 452 cryptography, CPC 454 cloud security, CPC 455 web security, CPC 458 malware analysis. Guess what you're taking right now, or CPC 459, which is blockchain security. So if you're interested in that, and I hope you all are, by taking this course, you have already satisfied one of the requirements of the cybersecurity concentration. So something to think about. And we're not stopping there with the creation of the concentration. Our next step is to get the concentration accredited by the NSA and Department of Homeland Security as a program of excellence, which basically means if you complete that, when you look for the job, and it says that you are a CSUF graduate with a BS in computer science with cybersecurity concentration, and that program was a program of excellence, it'll give you a little bit of a thumbs up on your resume and your career, right? So there's definitely a lot of practicality here. Now, in terms of prerequisites, you need to have completed CPC 351 operating system, or you have to have a graduate standing in either computer science or computer engineering. If none of that, you can go back to the department and maybe they will let you in. Now, this is not in the prerequisites, but have you ever, meditated upon a question, okay? Like, why did we have to take CPC 240? I assume, all of you already taken CPC 240 at this stage in your career, correct? Right? Why did they make me take CPC 240? I mean, when am I going to be using this stuff, right? Isn't this just, theoretical stuff, they make us do because basically, well, every CS department does it, and number two, I guess they just like to torture students, so, I mean, why not, right? Well, this course will basically answer the question which has been bugging you all of your lives. You will understand why they made you take CPC 240. Because when we'll be dissecting malware, guess what? Usually no one's going to give you source code. Basically what's going to happen is on your desk or your desktop, a little executable is going to land. And, in the best cases, you can say, well, we think this little bugger has been causing havoc at this company. And you'll have to take this executable and you'll have to figure out exactly what it does. So how do you do that? Well, you'll have to take the binary and you'll have to decompile it into assembly, and then you will study the assembly. At least one of the things. That's one of the things which you'll be doing. But I don't want to jump the gun too much. But yes, folks, this course also, amongst other big questions of life and human existence, it answers the question of why did I have to take CPC 240? To be sure, this is not the only reason, but this is one of the big reasons. If you want to be a malware analyst, or if you want to be a cybersecurity major in general, you do need, or at least it's really good to have a strong grasp of assembly. For malware analysis, it's indispensable. For cybersecurity in general, it's ridiculously useful. All right? And we have a question from Daniel. So could we apply for that at the end of the semester? I'm going to graduate this semester, and I will have taken many different cybersecurity courses. So could I get it at the end of the semester? I think you can, Daniel. Yeah, if you satisfy all of the requirements, I think you can apply right now. I would contact the CS office and let them know. For those of you folks who are interested, please contact Sandra. I'm typing out her email in the chat right now. sbalanjay@fullerton.edu. All right? So, okay. Now, so what are you going to be doing in this course? Well, it's about malware analysis, so we'll be analyzing malware. But what does that even mean? Okay, so, well, we'll basically learn to understand that sometimes when you are a security professional, just running antivirus in order to fight malware is just not enough, because antiviruses, they have their limitations. Okay, they're basically robots, or you can say dumb bots, that are programmed to do certain things. And malware writers can be ridiculously clever, and they can design malware to fool antiviruses. But if you have the skills and the know-how to actually take malware, find out its true functionality, then you can develop signatures that can stop malware regardless of what it is. You will learn how to do static and dynamic analysis. Both are very critical. Static analysis basically means that you study the executable itself. In other words, you study its structure, you study its code, you study its data. So basically, all analysis that doesn't involve actually running the executable. That's a static analysis. And then there is the dynamic analysis where you're going to run the executable in a protected environment, and you're going to monitor, what is this thing doing? Oh, look, it's accessing files. Look, it's trying to access the internet. It's trying to access hardware directly. Okay, and both are very, very critical. You will actually identify the malicious parts of that executable. Because you see, folks, malware, you can think of it as two parts. There is mal, which means, malicious, and then there is ware, which basically means, software. So in malware, you just want to find the mal part, okay? Oftentimes, you learn that, when you decompile the executable, you are hit over the head with a huge mountain of assembly. And the vast majority of that assembly is going to be irrelevant. And the challenge is going to be, find in that, Mount Everest of needles, the needle that you're looking for. Okay? So that's basically the idea. Also, another thing which you'll learn, and this is very critical in all cybersecurity fields, is being able to write up what it is you do. I talk to my colleagues all the time, and I look at what people are complaining about online, and and they say the vast majority of our new hires, they're able to get by technically. However, a lot of them just cannot write, and writing up your malware analysis report is like ridiculously critical. Okay, it's extremely critical because to your customer, to whoever hired you to do this analysis, if you were hired, if your report is bad, to them, your analysis was bad. So communication will be very important. So we're going to learn how to write up our findings. We will also learn the ethical implications of malware design and reverse engineering. Because, folks, when it comes to reverse engineering, it's more than just about reverse engineering malware. Because you see, once you learn how to reverse engineer things, you will also gain other skills which can be used for other things. For example, cracking software. I'm sure all of you have seen the trial software, right? And you always wonder, how can I bypass, the trialware? Well, reverse engineering can allow you to do that. But of course, when you do that, you really got to make sure that you're in harmony with ethical and legal aspects of it. So we'll be talking about that as well. And can you focus on my video, okay, by the way? It's a little frozen on my part, but is my video visible?
I can hear you.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So great, thank you guys for the confirmation. And finally, I hope that you will appreciate the importance of malware analysis within the broader scope of cybersecurity. Because without malware analysis, cybersecurity would be a very difficult field. I mean, every time when you update your antivirus, you're installing new signatures. Now, somebody had to develop those signatures, so somebody had to do the malware analysis. However, what if you say, well, I don't want to develop antivirus signatures for a living. I don't want to work for McAfee, Norton, Asset, Kaspersky, or any of those other antivirus companies. Well, I mean, that's okay, because imagine that you have this kind of a situation. Okay, so you have a malware outbreak in your company. Now, you're one of the security administrators. So what do? Well, you know, you isolate the machines which were infected, and you trace how malware has spread. And you, for example, find out that that malware has, spread by, for example, copying itself over port number 22, in other words, through SSH from computer to computer. So, well, you update the firewall rules so that whenever this malware tries to spread over SSH, the firewall will block it. And within a week, the malware comes back. I mean, clearly, malware did something for which you didn't account. So perhaps this malware has multiple attack vectors that it's capable of executing, and a lot of advanced malware nowadays just does just that. So how can you actually use malware analysis in order to really stop malware? Well, you can do malware analysis on this malware sample, and then you can find out all of its functionality, and then based on that, you can develop better signatures for your firewall. You can develop stronger security configurations for your systems. Okay, so it gives you a very powerful tool that allows you to really stop malware. And like I said before, most attacks involve malware. All right, so that's basically the idea. Oh, and I'm sorry, we had a question on the chat which asks, how screwed am I if I took assembly years ago at a different school and only remember some of my CDCL stuff? So Austin, we will be reviewing the basics of Intel assembly. So I think you should be fine. You may have to do a little bit of review, but I think you should be fine as long as you have the determination and the motivation and the spirit. I think you will do great. Okay. Yeah. I hope my video is still animated. Okay. Because it doesn't seem animated on my side, but as long as you folks see me, that's great. Okay. So now we'll be using this book. It's called Practical Malware Analysis, and this is, although it's been published in 2012, unfortunately, folks, this is one of the best books of the field. It's the Bible, you can say. Simply no other book written after this date comes, even close to this one. Now, although it's been written in 2012, all of the concepts in it, or at least 99.999% of them, are applicable to the modern systems as well. It's, it assumes Windows XP and 32-bit assembly, but that's actually good because Windows XP is an old and deprecated system. It's a legacy system that nobody uses. I have a story to tell about this one in a few moments. But because it has so many vulnerabilities, we can easily write malware and analyze malware that takes advantage of Windows XP and thus gain a better hands-on feel for how malware actually does what it does. Now, this book is not required, but I highly recommend it because it will help you, gain much more and much deeper understanding. And, the book has a different style of explaining things than I do, which is natural. And, or maybe you think, the book has better personality than I do. I mean, that's perfectly possible. Some papers are better than people, right? So now, I have a little question for you, which is partially intellectual and partially philosophical. Stare at the book cover a little bit. What do you see? Okay, a dead man or a Roswell vid, right?
Aliens.
Yeah, right? It's aliens, right? I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens, right? So, Area 51, Jess, yeah. And he's winking too. Yeah, like in cutting tools. Now, do you think this image is random? Or do you think this is a very symbolic piece of art? It's very symbolic, right? And what does it symbolize to you? Yeah, exactly. So, what does the alien represent? Yeah, as some of you are saying, um, he represents malware, right? Something unknown, something mysterious. Yeah, a thing that is unknown. And what does the table and the cutting tools represent? They represent the tools, right? The clinical setting. Yeah, basically the analysis, right? And also this whole setting, it's as if this alien is about to get cut up. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You will get a piece of malware which will be like an alien. You'll have no idea what it does. But then, by using your tools and techniques, which can be found in a clinical setting, for example, you'll be able to reveal its mysteries. And I know, it may sound a little bit, cliche. You may sound, it may seem like, oh, I mean, I get better things to do, like, what is there to do in the quarantine? Anyway, um, but if there is one thing, folks, which I can share with you, um, when you spend a long time, trying to figure out what does this darn thing do, you run it many times, you monitor it, you look at its code, you decompile it, assemble it, disassemble it, you do all kinds of things. You still can't figure it out, and then finally you figure it out. Finally, you crack its mystery. Oh my God, does that feel good? There are a few things that are as satisfying. I mean, and this is exactly what real-world malware analysts do, right? So, yeah, essentially you can say this is a class about dissecting aliens, all right? Tell it to your friend who likes conspiracy theories, okay? But he'll probably tell you that he always knew them. Okay, now, before we get into the exciting stuff, let's go through a little bit of the boring stuff, such as how will you actually be graded in this class? Well, hopefully the answer is very generously, right? But this class is going to have 5 main different components. The first component is going to be the assignments. So our assignments, the vast majority of them, will actually involve, behold, analyzing malware, okay? You'll actually be given malware to analyze, and you will analyze it using the tools and techniques which we learned in class, and then you will, write them up, okay? So we're looking at around, 4 to 5 assignments. We'll see how things go. We will also have quizzes, and quizzes are 20%, and lowest quiz is going to be dropped. We'll talk about, and we'll have attendance and participation, which is going to be 5%. We'll have midterm exam, which is 20%, and final exam, that is 25%. Now, I will explain each of those categories in a few moments, but the way in which the grade is going to be calculated, we'll compute an average of your assignments, an average of your quizzes, an average of your attendance, and then we will compute a weighted score, or you can say a weighted sum of your assignments, where they are 30%, of your quizzes, which are 20%, of your attendance, which is 5%, your midterm grade, which is 20%, and your final, which is 25%. So, and whatever that comes out to, that becomes what's called your raw score. Now, and then your grade is going to be curved, or your raw score is going to be curved, depending on how the rest of the class does. So historically, the curve ranged from anywhere from 0.5 to 5 points. Okay, I won't know the amount until the end of the semester. So, one thing which which I don't advise you to do is don't become a curve surfer. Do you know what a curve surfer is? Somebody who surfs the curve, right? So, so aim to get an A, and don't count on the curve alone. All right. So somebody says that I'm frozen. Am I now defrosted? Ah, nice. Okay. Yeah. Zoom sometimes can be weird. So, and once we compute the curved grade, there's your grade is going to be landed on the scale right here, and that will be what you get. Now, I know all of you are probably already plotting your way to an A, and to help you with that, I have created a little calculator, you can call it, which allows you to forecast your grade. So basically over here, you enter your assignment grades. Right here, you enter your quiz grades. Here comes your midterm exam, your final exam score, and your attendance average. And those are the weights. I believe I entered the correct weights for this course. And this computes your raw score, okay? Now, and then, this is the score, which is going to be curved depending on how the rest of the class does. This calculator does not take the curve into account because, it lags the knowledge of how everyone else does. So, all right. So that's basically the idea. And you can find it on Titanium, where it says grade calculator spreadsheet. You just click on it and it should download, all right? So please use this as a weapon that will allow you to conquer your A's, all right? Your path to victory starts now. All right, okay, warning, 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 and did I mention warning? Oh yeah, and the warning. So this class is about malware analysis, and part of malware analysis is handling malware. So you'll be dealing with real-world malware. In other words, programs which can actually, damage your system. Programs which have been written to damage your system. So please, 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 never run any of the programs that you get in this class on your own computer or on any other computer. So the question is, where do I run them? And the answer is, this is where our wonderful Windows XP virtual machine comes in, okay? I nickname it Volny, okay? V-U-L-N-Y, Volny, okay? Warnable. Oh yeah, the wallpaper, right? Anybody here old enough to remember Windows XP? Or am I the oldest thing in here? I'm not actually that much older than you are. Yeah, the wallpaper, right? Oh, the nostalgia, right? Anybody's having a big nostalgia trip? Oh yeah. I think Japanese have a word for that, natsukashi, I think. It's like nostalgic in a good way. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is Windows XP really appropriate for natsukashi? Now, Windows XP is a legacy system. Nobody's using it. Well, not quite true. A few weeks ago, I visited a retinologist, a dog that looks in your retina, in your eyes, and the machine which he used in order to take, the pictures of my retinas actually was using Windows XP. Yeah. So when I said that, nobody uses Windows XP, unfortunately, that's still not the case. And in 2015, I know it's been 5 years ago, but when I've been to Europe, I've seen quite a few hotels use Windows XP as well. That's not a good thing, okay? Now, this Windows XP VM can be downloaded from the website, and I'll show you the link for that. And it has a lot of the tools which we'll be using already installed for you. Now, please, 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 make sure that you don't connect this thing to the internet unless you really have to, okay? And I will, tell you when to do it and how to do it and under what circumstances, okay? So it has a lot of tools which you will need already installed, like Resource Hacker, IDA Pro. We'll be using IDA Pro quite a lot. Netcat, Autoruns, Process Explorer, etc. Now, once in a while, you will want to punch your screen when you use this VM because, some tools may crash it, but it doesn't really happen that often, and usually it only happens when you run a certain set of tools together. But overall, it's a relatively stable system, and oh my God, is it fast, okay? So, yeah, folks, you can download free Windows XP VM. Back in early 2000s, people would have killed for this. In fact, I remember a lot of people would try to download what they thought were Windows XP images from file sharing networks, and And oftentimes, people would they would mess around with them by saying in the zip file there was Windows XP image, when in reality there actually was some kind of malware. Who could have thought, right? Um, yeah. And yeah, somebody says if nuclear silos still use floppy disks, there will be people on XP. Absolutely. And in fact, now that you mentioned floppy disks, I do remember, I think it was early 2000s, where somebody actually copied Windows XP onto a mountain of floppy disks. That must have been a lot of fun. Okay. Now, please, run all of your malwares inside this Windows XP VM, and keep this VM always disconnected from the network. And the way to check whether you're connected is to go to Devices and Network, and you see this thing which says Connect Network Cable. It should be unchecked like it is right now. Okay, I will connect it just to show you. See, that's what it looks like when it's connected, and that's what it looks like when it's disconnected. Okay. So always keep it disconnected unless otherwise told. All right. So, and you can download it from the website. Now, if your machines, or your networks, suffer as a result of not using the VM or not using it properly, the department takes no liability. So you've been warned. Okay. So now let's talk about quizzes. So traditionally, we would have in-class and take-home quizzes. However, in the past, few years, I've been moving away from in-class quizzes, and I decided to keep all quizzes as take-home quizzes. And I was thinking of doing it this semester. How do you folks feel about that? Would you like to keep all quizzes take-home quizzes? Okay, take some time to think. So, okay. I see a lot of yes coming in. All right, nice. Yeah, so the assignments will primarily be, you analyzing malware. And usually assignments will be much more challenging than quizzes. Now, quizzes will typically involve malware analysis as well, but they'll typically be much more straightforward. So they will basically be little, you can say lab rats, which you can use in order to exercise your malware dissection skills, which you learned in class. So they'll be much more, straightforward. Um, just to compare it by analogy, if an assignment is me giving you an alien from outer space and saying, okay, figure out how its body works, a quiz will be more like, I give you a rat or a frog, and I'll tell you, okay, find me a liver, find me a stomach, find me, heart. Okay, so basically, it's more of a straightforward application of skills, where assignments will be more about critical thinking. Now, and also the same policy applies for assignments and for the quizzes. So if your quiz or assignment is 24 hours late or less, there's going to be a 10% late penalty. If it's more than 24 hours late, there's going to be an additional 90% penalty. However, the good news is that after that, there is no more penalty, no matter how late you hand it in. Okay, but if you think about it, it's not really that huge of an advantage. Okay, so please hand things on time. But if you need more time with something, or you're struggling, please, please, let me know. And all assignments and quizzes will be put up on Titanium. So when it comes to assignments, you will be basically using Titanium in order to download malwares and then enter your answers to questions and to post your write-ups. And when it comes to quizzes, they will also be posted on Titanium. Quizzes will be, posted, and they will stay open until the deadline, typically, a week or two. And usually you can resubmit as many times as you like, and you can answer a few questions, then leave it for a few days, and then come back. You can also do that. Really, you have complete freedom until the final submission deadline. if that makes sense. Right? And usually, I allow people to work in groups because in the real world, a lot of malware analysis is indeed done by groups of people, and trust me, you will need the extra, people power. All right, because as they say,
Dude, MVP, dude? Just
I'm
kidding,
sorry.
I'm dead, dude. I'm gonna give this guy another.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah. So, I think somebody unmuted themselves, by accident. Ah, so is this like a Jennifer moment, if you know what I mean? Yeah. Um, if you've seen the YouTube, there was. Oh no, that's okay. We're all working from home, and actually, I'm working from my parents' home back in New York because I take social distancing very seriously. I don't want to infect any of you, and to ensure, I'm staying 3,000 miles away from any of you, so you're safe from getting, COVID from me. And I don't think that COVID-19 has yet found a way to propagate through Zoom. At least we haven't discovered that yet. But I'm sure that viral analysts out there are dissecting COVID-19 and they're trying to answer that very question. Is this course too relevant? Too appropriate for the current situation? Yeah, I think so because it parallels the real world. Um, what else was I going to say about assignments? So, are we good with assignments? Yeah, New York. Yep, we are in New York. So, all right. Now, and let's talk about exams. So we're going to have two exams. We're going to have a midterm, which is going to take place on the 18th, and at least that's the current plan. We may change it if things don't always pan out nicely. And there's going to be a final exam on the 15th. That date is set by the university, so we don't really get much of a choice there. And all exams are going to be administered online through Titanium. If you took virtual instruction last fall, exams were given through Zoom, and that was a lot of fun. But this semester, the IT is giving us a new system for remote proctoring. It's called Proctorio, like Proctor, but like with the IO at the end, Proctorio. Um, and it comes from proctor, not proctologist, different things. Okay, now how does it actually work? To be honest, I'm not quite sure yet because I've never used it myself. This is a new thing, so I'll be learning together with you. But we have until November to figure that out, and hopefully we will figure it out by the time. The IT looks like they have a lot of great resources for that. So yeah, you know, that's basically the idea. And Daniel says cybersecurity is the most modern courses classes could get. I agree. I agree. We're we're in the same boat on this one. Now, there's going to be no makeups for exams, but if you have a valid excuse, for example, you get sick or your house catches on fire, which unfortunately is all too real of a concern these days in California. um, but just let me know, what happens now. Um, and the best way to do it is if you can provide doctor's note, for example, if you're sick, or if you had a death in the family, maybe provide an obituary, something. Okay. Now, please, be honest about those kinds of things. Please, don't forge doctor's notes because we caught those. Like when multiple students had, the same doctor, which was very interesting. And it turned out that it was a forgery. Also, one memorable case, which I remember, is we had a student who missed the exam and said that he had an unfortunate event happen. His grandmother passed away. Of course, this is tragic. I mean, I had both my grandmothers pass away, to which I was very close. So I was devastated. So, and my grandmother actually passed away very close to that date. So so I said, oh, I'm so sorry, when you get a chance, please provide some form of evidence. So he said that, unfortunately, I don't have an obituary, but I do have a photo of the funeral. Now, this is great. So I mean, he shows me the photo, and it does look like a real photo of a funeral in Vietnam, at least as far as I can tell. In fact, it looks really good. I mean, like professionally done. I mean, well, whatever. Maybe they hired a professional photographer. I mean, it's not uncommon for people to have professional photographers at funerals. So, but I was a bit of a jerk. What I did was I used the Google's reverse image search feature. The one which, when if you go to images.google.com and you click on browse and you upload the image, the Google will find you the websites which have that image. And some of the hits which I got were from websites like, I think, PhotoBucket, Shutterstock, the websites which sell images for the web. Now, I started thinking, there are two possibilities. Either one, um, the the student got the image of that website, or number two, maybe somebody was so upset over the death of their loved one, they couldn't wait to monetize the photos of their funeral. Because you can sell images to Shutterstock and those other websites if you're a photographer. So so it was pretty awkward. What can I say? So please, 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 don't do that. I mean, I know you folks are better than this. I know you wouldn't do that kind of thing, but just so you know. I had other incidences as well. One time I've had a student, who said that he had to miss the exam because he was held hostage. I thought, I thought, well, I've never heard this excuse yet. And of course, I said, trying to be as professional as possible. I tell the story every semester, that's true. Um, can you please provide some evidence? And he says, okay. In a few days, he comes back and he puts a thick binder onto my, desk in my office. He says, well, here it is. I said, oh, what's that? Police reports, detective reports, investigation. Oh, so I look at it and, oh my God, he was actually held hostage in a Starbucks. Apparently, he was there studying for the exam, and some gang did a stick up. So, yeah, so yeah. So I mean, I was like, wow, and I can imagine how this could rattle somebody. So yeah, so please, folks, stay safe. You know, exams are one, like exams are important. Malware analysis are very important, but nothing is really more important than your life, because if you're dead, you cannot do much cybersecurity. And if you ask me, that sucks, right? And yes, you cannot do other things as well. At least, yeah. So yeah, yeah. So I hope you're feeling motivated to study malware analysis um, and hopefully you now have another reason to live. All right. Yeah, I'm with you, Daniel. Yeah. So now attendance and participation. So I'll try to find a way to take attendance. Uh, Now, I won't be taking attendance for probably the first few weeks or so, because the class population will fluctuate. Some people will add, some people will drop, some people will, be added from the wait list. You might be one of those people. And so I won't be taking attendance then. Now, folks, I really have no life. I mean, all I do is teach and do research. So really, whenever I teach, that's my only form of human interaction. And so, and because it means so much to me, it's one of my reasons for living. I want to see you here, every time and every day, because it inspires me, it motivates me. I think it also motivates your fellow classmates. Now, I understand things happen. And if you miss one class, I mean, I'll cry, I'll get depressed, I will throw some cans and bottles against the wall, but I'll probably find a way to get past this. But after that, like, it really starts hurting. So yes, so please try to be here as much as you can. Also, webcams are great. I'm not going to require you to enable your webcams like some professors do, because I understand, some of you may feel very sensitive about your room, or to put more precisely, about the state of your room, right? I understand we're all CS majors, and you know, we're all working from home. But I do appreciate if you decide to do that, because seeing a real human face nowadays is really a treat. Okay, um, so all right, folks. So this is the attendance and participation. Now, generally speaking, there won't be any separate component of the course titled extra credit. However, one thing which will happen is that on assignments and sometimes on quizzes, we will be adding little challenging parts, which if you complete, you will receive an extra credit. Those will typically be much more challenging than a regular assignment or quiz or what have you. By doing so, will get you more points on that assignment or quiz. Now, especially when it comes to assignments, doing extra credit really pays, because if you remember, if you look at the grading scale, assignments are 30% of your grade. So if you earn extra points on your assignments, this can really help you, boost up your grades. So this is a really, really solid pathway to victory and prosperity. All right. So that's the extra credit. Now, folks, I really love answering your questions, especially in a class like this, because sometimes, if you get stuck at, trying to analyze malware, you may say, okay, I tried it, I banged my head off the keyboard. I did Hail Marys, I sacrificed goats, I did every single thing that, that mortals have ever imagined. I still cannot progress. Well, sometimes explaining your problem to me may actually give you some hints. And I had that happen many times. Or I might be able to guide you toward, the truth, if you know what I mean. So I love answering your questions. I really love helping you. So please don't hesitate to contact me. You can contact me through email. You can contact me through, office hours, whenever I'm there, or you can schedule an appointment. Whatever works for you, folks. Because I want to be there for you, and I really want you to get this stuff. Because I gotta tell you, whenever a student, they come in with a very long and disappointed face, which looks something like this, and they walk out with this aha moment kind of look. I live for that. Okay, I live for that. If you if you watched Mr. Robot, the guy said, I live for this crap. I really do. I really do. Except I don't call it crap. Okay. Now, with that said, though, if you need to get an answer right away, and your question is of the generic variety, you can always ask Professor Google. Google really has me beat in some sense, because as fast as I try to respond to things, Google has beat me every single time, and over the years it hasn't gotten any slower. So so don't hesitate to ask Google. And yes, folks, I understand this is a very old meme, and Simpsons are not what they used to be. Is that a general consensus here? Because that's how I feel. But yeah, there is something charming about it. I don't know what. I guess some memes never die. All right. So now, but what if you still don't feel comfortable asking me a question? Perhaps you think I have a really scary face. Perhaps you think that I look like some hybrid of Slenderman, Siren Head, the Rake, Jeff the Killer, and that alien on the cover of the textbook. You're just scary. I'm afraid that you're gonna bite me. Well, to allay your fears, I won't do that, because first of all, I don't bite, and number three, it's kind of hard to bite somebody from 3,000 miles away. But if with all that persuasion you still don't feel comfortable, there is something called anonymous feedback. Okay, it's called anonymous feedback because, well, it's anonymous. It has nothing to do with the group anonymous. It's basically feedback which gets sent to me but it'll never tell me who sent it. So you would go to this web page and you would select CPC 458 by clicking on this little radio button, and then right here you would enter your question or your comment, and when you click send, I will or submit, I will receive it and I will answer it. Now, because this is anonymous, the only way in which I can get back to you is if I contact the entire class. In other words, I send the email to the entire class. So basically, I send a blast, and somewhere within that blast, I'm gonna get, the right person. All right. So please feel free to use it, the way you feel. You know, please don't abuse it. Don't use it, for example, to try to spread malware, right? um, don't use it for anything that is ethically questionable or yeah. And yes, this is how anonymous is this? Well, basically, it doesn't record anything. It doesn't require you to log in with your Google account. This is a Google form, but it does, but it does not require you to log in. So if you open up, a private browser, this will ensure that you're not logged in, but you'll still be able to submit the feedback. And yes, as Eric has rightly pointed out, yeah, please, no phishing. Okay, yeah. So, and yeah, by the way, I do, if you submit phishing, I mean, I probably won't, quote the original email when I reply, because, it may be too tempting, because, it'll be kind of weird, and where, like, if I reply to the entire class saying, please don't click on the link below to get $1 million, right? Or to save the Prince of Nigeria, right? Are those still around? I haven't seen those in a while. But it surely lives on in our hearts and in the memes. Okay, so please use it, but use it, responsibly. They all got COVID. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the story of everyone these days, right? So, and like I said, we'll be using a Windows XP VM, and here is a link which you can use to download the VirtualBox image. It's like 1.5 gigabytes in size roughly. So, and it doesn't require that much memory. So if you have like a low to middle class laptop for about 400 to 500 bucks, you should be able to run it with relative ease. You might have to download the Oracle VirtualBox. If you just go to Google and you look up VirtualBox, and this is the website. And then you would just click download VirtualBox, and then you would select your platform. So I would choose Linux because Linux is my main system. I'm running OpenSUSE, or the Lizard Linux, as I call it. Here's one for Windows. You can also get one for Mac. Okay, so no matter what kind of system you're using, you can always get that version of VirtualBox. If you need help setting it up, please feel free to let me know, and I'll be happy to help you out. So once you go to that website, you would download the OVA image, OVA, and then you would open up your VirtualBox console, which looks like this, and then you would go to File, Import Appliance, and then you browse for your OVA file. Now, over here, I have a Tofix OVA, so I'll select that, but you're going to choose your Windows XP OVA. And then you would just click Next. I'm not actually going to import it. And then, you can basically stick with the default settings. You can increase RAM if you want to. You can increase the number of CPUs if you want to. I mean, you can change them. But the default configuration will work, and then you just click Import, and it will add it to your console right here. I'm not actually going to click Import because I don't want to import another copy of this VM. All right? So that's how we do it. And like once again, if you have issues, feel free to let me know, and I'll be extremely happy to help you out. All right? And once again, please, with sugar and high fructose corn syrup on it, please, always keep your VM disconnected from the internet, because Windows XP has more holes in it now than a pound of Swiss cheese. So please, don't give hackers a doorway. Okay, so, and we got some questions. So how much RAM should be used for the Windows OS? So it's very little. So if you look into my settings, uh, you will see that by default, it allocates, where is my Windows XP? Ah, there it is. Settings. And to go to system, I allocated 1024 megabytes, which is like one gig of memory. But you know, if you cannot afford a gig of memory, you can try less and see how well it works. Windows XP is not the most memory hungry system, but yeah, but as I think Sammy said that 2 gigs should work well. Yeah, two gigs will work well for sure. Yeah, I mean, if you can spare that much memory, because I know not all of you are exactly you know are running top class laptops. So yep, yeah, yep, and you're welcome, Joe. Yep. So now, another thing is that I will be providing you with malware samples, which we'll be using for in-class exercises and for assignments and quizzes. I'll be posting them right here. So if you go to that link, you'll be able to download malware. So the link is http mguffman at acs.fullerton.edu /CPAC 458. And it'll take you to this directory listing where you'll be able to find malware samples. So I already put up samples for the next lecture, so you can download it and you can open it, and then once it downloads, you can try to open it up and see what happens. So let's open it up. Okay, so I want to extract it, so I'm dragging this to my desktop. You cannot see it, but oh no, there is a password. Well, the password for this archive is CPAC 458. They'll never guess that. Now, you may be wondering, why are you doing this? Why are you making our life even more complicated? Isn't 2020 enough? Well, there is actually a really good reason for that. First of all, this is malware. And when you add password protection to a zip file, it basically encrypts that file. So basically, malware is rendered, safe. Also, if you're using Windows and you have an antivirus running, like all of you absolutely should be doing, right? Because you're CS majors, you're not like the other people. When you download a zip file that contains malware, the first thing which your antivirus is going to do is it'll block it. It's going to delete that file. So you won't be able to even download it because your antivirus will do, well, what it's supposed to do, right? One time, this was when I first taught this course. So I basically, I'm a Linux user, so I put all of this, a malware sample on my Dropbox, thinking that, on my Windows laptop, which I'll be using for class, I will just take those samples, I will drag them into the Windows XP VM, and, things will work out just fine. Well, guess what? Once all of those files on Dropbox sync to my Windows PC, the antivirus basically killed each and every single one of them. And I was, at first, I wanted to be upset, but I was just upset myself. I was like, well, honestly, I cannot blame the antivirus because it's doing what it's supposed to do. All right. So that's why I'm encrypting it. Number one, it's to protect yourselves. And number two, it's to basically hide from our antivirus so we can actually successfully download that. All right, folks? So basically, that's all you need to do. Just remember. And if you forget, this link and this password is also being posted on Titanium and the syllabus as well. Okay? So far, so good? Are we good? Please feel free to interrupt me at any moment if you have questions, because I know I am a big talking head. Okay?
I have a question.
Yep. Go ahead.
So when we download the malware samples, we drag it onto our desktop or to the VM?
Yeah, this is something which we'll talk about later on. I will show you how to safely move malware between your host system and your desktop. Your host system and your VM. Yeah. This will be the next unit. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if you download it, and if you do extract it, don't double click. But I think on your system, if you download it and as soon as you extract it on your Windows system, your antivirus will probably nuke it. So yeah. All right. And no, folks, I won't try to attack students with a ransomware just so I can collect your bitcoins, because honestly, if somebody wanted to rob somebody, I think COCF students, faculty, and staff are probably we're not probably the most how do I say, we're not exactly all are made from money, right? So I double clicked my worm file on my main desktop once, and it gave me a heart attack. Oh, I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, yeah. That's how a lot of malware gets on. Okay. Now, class cancellation policy. Oh yes, yes. On YouTube, everything is getting canceled. So so I hope our class won't get canceled, but our class could get canceled. For example, if for some reason the fires in California get so out of control, or COVID gets so bad that we can't even do virtual instruction. I hope none of those apocalyptic possibilities will actually materialize. But who knows? It's 2020. Anything's possible, right? They say there's a meteorite heading our way with a probability of 0.41% of hitting Earth. But once again, this is 2020, so it's a year that keeps on giving. So if you have to cancel class in advance, I'll definitely let you know through email. And if that's the case, just all you have to do is just don't show up for Zoom, and everything should be fine. Now, if you do come for Zoom and the class doesn't begin within 15 minutes, you can, I was going to say you can go home, but you're probably already home. So you can stay home and wait for follow up. Possibly I got COVID-19, or maybe I met some other kind of apocalyptic ending. Who knows, right? If I'm dead, I'm sure they'll find some kind of a viable replacement. All right, because yes, I'm also human and I'm vulnerable to those things. And how do you know I'm human? Well, because can a robot laugh? Ha 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 ha. Anyway, I just had to do that. Okay. So if 15 minutes go by and nothing, materializes that looks like me, I'm sorry I wasted your time. There's going to be follow up. Okay. So this is the class cancellation policy. Now, the academic honesty. Basically, please, folks, don't cheat. Don't copy other people's stuff. It's totally okay to use external references. However, if you do use them, please run them by me, and also please, cite them. Okay, this could be something like including a link in your write-up. All right, and if you're ever in doubt, please feel free to to ask me. All right, I'll be extremely happy to help you out. All right. Now, as far as cheating goes, we have a lot of experience with this, or I have a lot of experience with this. I've seen people, taking exams. I've seen people, handing in assignments from, prior semesters, which is kind of funny because the assignments have been changed. When exams were given in person, we had people do all kinds of things like snappling. You basically take a Snapple bottle and you take the label off, you write the answers on the inside, and then you put it back on, and then when you're taking the exam, like, oh, I'm thirsty, and I figured it out. Okay. So that's what snappling is. And it's also a good opportunity, to wet my throat at the same time. So people would go to the bathroom and write their answers there, like they would write their answers here. They would, some people would put their phone in their crotch where they can look down and see, the answers. We've seen all kinds of things. So please kindly, don't cheat, don't plagiarize. I know you're all above that, but but please don't do it because it's just so not cool, especially in cybersecurity, because in cybersecurity, trust and ethical conduct are viewed extremely, extremely highly. And on your record, if you have a single breach of that, nobody will trust you ever again. So, especially if you're interested in cybersecurity, now it's time to start, working on your probity codes. Okay, and there is really no reason to cheat. Like I said, I'll be here to help you, and whatever you do, please, be honest, and do your best and be cool. All right, and so and as Daniel suggests, the best way to cheat is just to memorize all the stuff you were supposed to learn. Then they can blame you for cheating because they can't see the secret sheet full of information in your mind. Well, this might work in other classes in malware analysis. It might be difficult because a lot of what you do, it will require you to actually apply the analysis to analyze malware. So unless you actually can memorize million and something assembly instructions, then honestly, you can do something I cannot even dream of. So, yeah. But, I do have faith in your capabilities, folks. If you're caught, cheating, this could result in F for the assignment, in the best case, or in the worst case, possibly even an F for the course. And we will be using, tools such as MOS in order to automatically detect cheating and plagiarism. So, please, don't do that. When I was an undergrad student, I had an operating systems professor who would do something really interesting and kind of sadistic at the same time. So right from the beginning of the class said, yeah, so on the last assignment, we detected some plagiarism. So those who have plagiarized, you have until 5 p.m. to turn yourselves in. And if you do, you'll get an F for the assignment. If you don't, you'll get an F for the course. And, as one of the TAs have told me years later, that actually more people ended up turning themselves in than they even, found to be plagiarizing. So I will not do something like this, to you, but, but I also assume that you folks are better than this, okay? Because, you look like a group of pretty respectable people because I know a lot of you. And those who I don't know, I hope I will get to know. And I hope we'll have a great time. Let's be honest. Let's be respectful to each other. And, that's how we roll, right? Is that true? Yeah? Sounds like a deal? All right. So, now the emergency policy. Well, honestly, I feel it's kind of weird to have emergency policy because, we are in the virtual instruction and it's kind of, weird to talk about things like classroom safety and everything. So if something really bad happens, let's say, what hasn't happened yet in 2020? The San Andreas fault, for example, right? So if something like that happened, please do whatever you can to stay safe in your home. In case of an earthquake, probably, hide under your table. If it's a fire, do whatever the firefighters or the government tells you to do. If it's alien invasion, well, yeah, whatever they did in the Independence Day. If you remember the Independence Day movie, because I remember they uploaded malware into the systems of the alien ship, and it was kind of convenient that the alien ship used, the same architecture that we used on Earth. It had a compatible operating system. It had compatible hardware and software interfaces. It had compatible network protocols. Yeah, they must have been, like Brian says, we must have used XP before XP. And sorry, Jared, yeah, I'll try not to jinx this year. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yes, the universal serial bus. It has to work. Yeah. Actually, I don't think that USB was that widespread during the Independence Day, because I think Independence Day was what year it came out? I think it was 96, right? 1996. Yeah. It's a tragedy movie in disguise. Even aliens were burdened with X86. Very true. Very true. Because that's what I think, happened, right? So, yeah. And if you folks need any kinds of accommodations, please feel free to let me know, and I'll be happy to help you out. For example, if you need extra time in the exams, or you need a note taker, or you need some other kinds of accommodations, please feel free to let me know, and I'll be super happy to accommodate that. All right. So also, folks, I wanted to mention something else about the exams. It's kind of related to the disabled student services stuff. So I'm not a big believer that exams should resemble, rat races, because I myself, I'm not a very fast thinker. Back in Ukraine, my teacher wanted me to go to a school for idiots. Uh, Political correctness was not a thing back in Soviet Union. It wasn't called the school for disabled; they called the school for idiots, and that's where my teacher said, I should be at, because I was a slow thinker, and so. Um, so I don't believe that exams, should be like a rat race. So I'll be happy to give you basically as much time as you need on the midterm or the final exam. I'll stick around as long as you do. I won't go home until you do. Well, I guess I can go home because I'm already home, but I'll give you all the time that you need. And I don't think this should be much of an issue, because I'm pretty sure none of you have a class after this, right? Because this is like the latest that the class can possibly happen. So how does that sound? Do you guys like that idea? So our class ends at 9:45. So if you need more time than that, I'll stay here as long as you do. One time I stayed until 2 a.m. And yeah, it works for me. If it works for you, it works for me. Okay, awesome. And also another thing which I wanted to mention with regards to the exams is that it's kind of been a tradition in all of my classes that before the exams, we would hold this thing called a review session. So basically, a review session would take place over the weekend, because generally that's when I have at least some free time I can allocate, and we would meet. Typically, we would meet in a classroom, one of the e-classrooms, the big ones, but that's not going to happen this year. We'll be meeting over Zoom. And we will go through the review sheet. I can answer any questions, or I can just review everything that we covered. And yeah, and I stay there as long as you want to stay. Like a typical review session, range. I think the shortest one was 3 hours long. The longest one at one point was 10 hours long, or more. So I'll stay as long as you stay, and it will be recorded and it will be posted on YouTube, so you can watch it at your own leisure as well. Okay, So my question to you folks is, would you like to have a review session as well in this class? How are you feeling about that?
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. I see a lot of yeses. So looks like our vote is unanimous. And it looks like, some people already had experiences with that. So yeah, absolutely. We can definitely do that. And so I will schedule it, once the time comes. And also, folks, one more thing, which I was going to mention. Every lecture, such as this one, it's going to be recorded. And I will do a little bit of editing, to make it a little more watchable. Like I will make it more structured. Sometimes I may edit some things out and add better explanations, because I watch myself sometimes and I'm like, that was a horrible way to explain something. What were we thinking? And and I'll go snip, and then add something that is better, clearer, more attractive, etc. right? And yes, gotta add some cat memes in there as well, because see, one of the things I learned from years making educational videos is that no matter how hard you try or how good your video comes out, you just can't compete with cats in terms of likes. So instead of trying to beat them, I decided to join them. So yes, I'm a sellout to cats. Okay. Um, so and yes, do expect memes. Okay. I do like memes because I think they make things a little bit more fun. Okay. So also, please everyone read the course syllabus. It has a lot of very valuable information, including the information which I have just discussed. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. The syllabus can be found on our Titanium. So if you go to the Titanium and you click on the syllabus, you should be able to view that as well. So this is the syllabus. Okay, so you click on that, and here it is. All right. Yeah. Um, and also on Titanium, there is the link to the class meeting, which is this one, and there is a link to the office hours Zoom. Passwords are there, and also those slides which I talked about are also posted here. I post my slides in both PPT and PDF because different people like different things, and some platforms handle PPTs better, some handle PDFs better. And also, with each lecture or each topic, I'll be providing what's called a handout, which can be available right here. I have already downloaded a copy, so here it is. So handouts, they won't be collected, they won't be graded, but they're there to help you gain a deeper understanding of the material and to simply help you follow the lecture. So it'll contain some basic questions about the subject matter, but also it'll include things like questions from interviews. Okay, you know, where do I get them? Well, of course, the internet is one place, and also my own experiences. From the interviews to which I've been, the intelligence which some of my students have shared with me. Of course, ethical. You know, I never ask them to disclose something they were asked not to disclose. Okay, so and you are very highly encouraged to complete the handouts. Uh, my experience with basically all my classes shows that the students who complete their handouts, they generally do much better on the exams and in the course as a whole. On top of that, they will help you prepare for the interviews. So many times I've got emails from students who have long graduated from classes saying, "Hey, Goffman, do you mind sharing your handouts only because I have an interview coming up with company XYZ, and they'll be asking me questions about that subject, so can you please share that with me?" And of course, I'm very happy to do it. If you need help with any of those questions, please feel free to let me know, and I'll be, once again, happy to help you in that regard as well. Okay? So that's basically what the handouts are. Any questions about anything so far? All right, we're good.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Mhm.
Yeah, I downloaded the PowerPoint slides, but then I realized that your slides look just a little bit different than the ones that I downloaded. So I was just wondering if you updated the slides.
I did make some minor edits actually, like about a few hours before. Um, I see. I think some of you folks are looking at the PDFs. I think probably what happened was I made some minor edits like a few hours, and I think I forgot to update the PDF. Um, I will do that, right now. It'll take probably like a few minutes for the Dropbox to sync, but yeah. In terms of content, though, it's not going to be any different. So, okay. So that's basically Well, I have, folks, for the administrative stuff. Now we're finally ready to start the exciting stuff, the stuff that you actually came for, which is malware analysis.